No, please don't.
Awesome. Want to get more chairs?
How can we get some people
Get
scheduled
more
here?
chairs?
We're gonna bring some more chairs up here for you guys. You're gonna leave it on mute,
Okay.
so don't change.
Gotcha.
Don't change the song. Leave it how it is.
Where do you want me to sit?
Anywhere.
Anybody else coming? All right.
How's everybody doing, by the way? I mean, we're like right in the middle of the day. It's lunchtime is coming, so man, this is so encouraging. Just me personally, just meeting people and shaking people's hands and giving hugs. When you have 2 years of experience, and all of us, we feel like we know each other through Twitter and Telegram and going back and forth in DMs. This is my first Hex conference that I've actually been to. Last year I missed it and was busy with work and stuff. That's not happening anymore. Hex made me retire back in December. So Richard Hart, man, I'm not sure if he watches all of this. It's crazy amount of content to consume, but if you are watching Big Guy, you have been a true inspiration to thousands and thousands of people. So it's awesome. It's pretty powerful. So, you know, the importance of meeting each other. Lit talked about this earlier, of just meeting each other and shaking hands and being face to face. It's really valuable. This is something that's almost really unique in just the Hex community. I've been in crypto for 10 years. And
I managed the 5555 tour. Our last event was last night. And so it is a wrap for me. So here today, I'm not here representing the tour. I'm here representing myself on International Women's Day. Yes. I go by Black Hexican on Twitter. Let's talk about Hex on Telegram, because that's what I like to do. I'm a full-time Hexican, and I do it because I do feel like there needs to be representation for women in this industry. I am so impressed by the turnout of ladies at this conference. I mean, I've seen pictures. I've never been to a Bitcoin conference, but I've heard about, you know, these events, and I've seen videos from their events, and I've never seen this much women in it. And I think that's because Hex speaks to us differently than any other crypto. We as women, we are natural savers and planners, right? We think about the future. If you do get some kind of tax return, I know me first, the first thing I think about are my kids' birthdays. I'm like, okay, I got 3 kids. I'm gonna put this amount away for this birthday and this birthday and this birthday. And then, you know, that money is just always that pot. Like, I'm very secure in that, and then bills are separate and everything. And then when I found Hex and the idea that a system can reward you for time locking something, I mean, that was a huge game changer, because now when I look at getting that money, and my kids have later birthdays in the year, October, December, and I would stake that till their birthday to say, okay, it was only going to be $500, but now in the bank at the end of that time, it was going to be what, $500.02, right? And now you put it in Hex. You know, yeah, we've had some bear markets, but I have more Hex than what we started with, right? So I'm able to take that interest and use that for that birthday, and then restake the rest for another birthday. And now they have birthdays being paid for years to come, all because we had the foresight to say, look, this money is for them anyways. Let's just lock it up and be rewarded by a system that pays you for honoring the code. So yeah, that's why I'm here today, just to you know, let ladies know that this is not too complicated of a function or of a product for us to understand. It's actually super simple when you really break it down. I think sometimes we go too far into you know, the code and all these different elements. At the end of the day, if you honor the system, then it rewards you. And so that's my little spiel. I'll pass it on.
I guess I'll go next. Hopefully everyone can hear me okay. Same thing as Maddie was saying. Yeah, thanks everyone for being here as well. Bitcoin did 6.9 million X, but what did they do to actually change the world? I mean, they did a lot. Cryptography is amazing. But Hex is just getting started, and a 10,000 X is literally just the beginning. And so if you look at what Richard's talked about with, kind of taking over the world with Hex and with staking and some of this, we just are a lot earlier than most people think. And so, yeah, it's awesome to earn passive income, trustless yield. Where else can you get that? So many people, they promise you the world. Oh, hey, you can make 1%, cash back and stuff like this. But anyways, I really like what Hex is doing. The community is amazing, and it's cool to see all you people here.
Yeah, let's do this. So thank you everyone for being here. It's my first time in Vegas, and I must say, it's crazy over here. I mean, I'm from Amsterdam, and I'm used to some things, but man, this place, yeah, it's crazy. And I think, most of us, we got into crypto like a couple of years ago, and I think we all got wrecked at some point. And it's just really great to just have found cryptocurrency from the beginning, that you were just able to earn interest or yield, as you should call it, and just lock it up for many years to come. And then, yeah, it's just great. I don't really know what to say, actually. So.
Hello, everyone. I'm the Great Delusionist, and I'm happy and proud to be here. All of us here in this room are very special. We're here early, and I get a lot of love and respect. These are the feelings. These are the feelings that I embrace and feel with all of you here today. And I doubt any of you have any doubts in that which you've experienced so far amongst your fellow Hexicans. Love, respect, the feelings and ideas of commitment and freedom. We're all delayers of gratification. We're all truth seekers. And, we're playing this positive sum game all together. And we share ideas of mindfulness, and everyone here is proud. Everyone here is proud to be here and proud to represent the community. And, it's my honor to speak to you and to share my truth with you today. And I will share my face with you here present, but I will reserve my privacy over the long term, and you all respect that, and as I respect that for you. And yeah.
I'll jump in here for a second. When you talk about other cryptocurrencies and stuff, and you realize how special Hex is, when I first started talking to Richard Hart, it was like 2017, and I didn't know he was into crypto. If you watch his first videos, with the top hat, and he's talking right in front of a mic, and he's looking right in the camera, you don't know what you don't know. So I didn't know who this guy was. He was really charismatic. He's the Richard all of us love, and very few people hate. They don't understand him quite the same way we do. But he talks more about things other than crypto. Like I said, back in those early videos, he wasn't mentioning that at all. It was how to give a better apology. It was how to stop gaming. It was addiction, alcohol. And think of the other founders out there. Satoshi, who is this guy? Vitalik, he's done great things, but how is his community? Richard Hart has created something really special with this community, and it starts off by those building blocks of not necessarily caring about crypto only and price only. He does great things for us, and those old videos are some of the most valuable videos. Even looking back now, that people first know Richard Hart now from Hex and crypto, they can look back at his old videos and they're still there. So it just speaks to the kind of person Richard Hart is and how lucky we are to have a founder like that behind us. Because just think how rare it is for someone to show his face, talk about things, always be around. The guy was, I don't know what, early 20s, and he was a millionaire already. He didn't have to do this, but I think he really cares about truly leaving a legacy. He's talked about that before, about leaving a legacy behind. And I've got friends of mine that look at Hex and their only viewpoint is, well, the OA has a lot of Hex, has a lot of crypto, and maybe the OA is probably Richard Hart. Nobody really knows. But if it is Richard Hart, hypothetically, just think about his reason not to sell Hex. If I was Richard Hart and I was a multimillionaire and a billionaire now, and I've got all these stable coins, the crypto, I've been in early, he's a super smart guy, so he didn't sell, you know, when Bitcoin, if he bought Bitcoin at 50 bucks, he's the kind of guy that's not going to sell it at 100 or 1,000. So he has that economic mass to not sell Hex. So it's difficult to talk to people who are new to this because they're so worried about Richard Hart selling, the OA selling, or some of the OGs selling crypto. But we have an incentive to care about each other and to be much more of a community than other cryptos are. So I just think it's super, super powerful and a really big positive in our court to have a founder like him and a community like we do.
Anybody else? I guess just to piggyback off of talking about community, going around the country from city to city and seeing different Hexicans in every city, there is definitely something special about this community that I've never seen before, will probably never be duplicated. I encourage you to get involved on Telegram. I know that there is a Texas Hex group, a Philadelphia Hex group, even in Texas. I mean, you guys got like a Houston group, a Dallas group, like, but yeah, there are tons of groups in your community because it's growing to the point to where we're like family. Like we like meeting up, we like hanging out and getting together and talking about the same, 15-year stakes that we're going to be talking about, for years to come. But that community, that taking it off of the computer and connecting with real people, that's what is important. And that's how the message of financial freedom and this opportunity grows so much faster and so much more authentic than it does if we just stay online. And so there are constantly new meetups and groups forming. So I would just encourage you to explore those opportunities to learn locally, because it's great support system, especially when you run into little issues. I've seen people have just like really small things like Google Authenticator has stopped them from being able to get into their centralized exchange. And so we're at a workshop and somebody goes, oh, that happened to such and such, and I know exactly how to fix that. And those type of things don't happen as easily as it does in real person, as online, right? Because you can get flooded with all the, people crying about this person and what they're doing with their money and what they're doing with their money. At the end of the day, they did their time, and we all have to do, our time. You have to decide how you want to live today. Tomorrow's not promised, but you have to prepare for tomorrow, So that's all I really have to say.
You were talking about the authentication, and I was just talking to Metallic before we got up here, just behind it, just like 10 minutes ago. And we take for granted, how important our security is. I know we push it a lot in Hex, and we got some of the greatest speakers that do that. Walrus earlier today was talking about that, how if you've got a compromised wallet, it's the first time I've ever heard that before. That I know a lot of people may feel like you have a compromised wallet. I mean, looking back at the adoption amplifier, I had numerous wallets, but one of them, I'm not sure if I ever did share that or put the seed bridge down to something. And I know I've got 4 or 5 stakes on that. So knowing that there's a possible solution to having a compromised wallet, or even if it's not compromised, if you think it's compromised, I can't wait to hear that kind of solution. Like, what can we do if if you had an early wallet and you didn't know about a Ledger or a Trezor and didn't know about hardware wallets, there's a possibility. So that's just another great thing about this community. We're always fighting for each other, and we're not just here to pump the bags. And once Hex gets to a certain threshold or a price point, we're gonna sell our Hex and move on to the next crypto. We are here for at least 15 years and then another 15 years. So it's really special what we've got.
And I think when you talk about compromised wallets, I mean, I started in 2011, I think, in crypto. And at some point, I just had a wallet that I downloaded somewhere. And that was the biggest mistake ever, because the wallet worked fine for Bitcoin for many, many months until it was empty one day. And I was on holiday in Switzerland, and all of a sudden, I went back home, and I opened up my wallet again because I was saving some Bitcoin. I was buying every month, and then it turned out the whole thing was empty. I was like, how is this possible? And when you look at the time stamp on the transaction, it was like 3 o'clock at night when I was sleeping in Switzerland. So it wasn't me. And it turned out that this was just a fake QT wallet that was being posted online. And the guys that were sort of running the thing, they deliberately let people use it for like many months. So you had no clue there was something wrong. Then all of a sudden they just exited all the wallets. And then, and you end up with...
Was it just BTC in the wallet?
Yeah, this was just BTC. And back then it was like $100 for one coin. So
wow.
In the end, everything worked out fine because Hex did a lot better overall. But yeah, that was a learning experience, I think. So I think security is really important. And I think if you look at the previous panels, they had a lot of people talk about security, especially the hardware wallets, because back then those things didn't really exist. They didn't even have passwords for the wallets. So I think a lot of changes have been made over the last couple of years. I think software is getting better. And I think, if you don't have a hardware wallet, just get one, please. So that would be my advice here.
I just want to ask the crowd here, who has had this type of experience of loss in crypto, or either loss or being hacked or losing funds or having this bad time? It's very common in cryptocurrency, but it's not common in Hex. It hasn't happened. It won't happen. If you choose to take a loss, that is your choice, and you are responsible for making that decision. Just as you choose to stake for 5,555 days, committing to me, committing to yourself, and committing to all of your fellow Hexicans. Could I get a hand raise and hold up your hand? Whoever has a 5,555 stake. Look around. Look around. These are the people that will be with you throughout the whole ride. And I love you. I have respect for you. And as you probably have respect for me. And I appreciate that. And this isn't short term. That is very long term. I have a Hex tattoo. That's lifelong. The amount of commitment within this room, the amount of commitment within this community, it's different. It's nuanced. It's world changing. We have the ability, we have the capacity to profoundly change the world, to profoundly change our relationship with money. And that's not something to overlook. Really not something to overlook.
I agree with what he said. One of Richard's famous lines is like, fix the money, fix the world. And you're right, 15 years is a long time. But Richard really is playing the tortoise versus the hare game, because once again, Bitcoin kind of had that opportunity and they did a really good job to make what it is today. Same thing with Ethereum. But anyways, the point is I agree with what you're saying. most marriages don't last 15 years. And so, or relationships. So people, they're locking up, they're committed to that more than they are. Anyways, it's just cool to see what people are doing. And, once again, leading by example, and the community as well. I agree that Richard, as Maddie had mentioned, his first videos were self-help. And so you can see his intention that it's good. And, slowly changing the world one day at a time, one Hexican at a time. And I agree, kind of taking that control back and having sovereignty is important.
Yeah, Balliet, I commit to you until death do us apart.
And that's the thing with the 5-5-5-5s. Is that too many fives? Anyway, the quad 5. It's we're not going to stop there. Like if you got a 10-year stake or a 15-year stake, the price of Hex is going to be just incredible by then. Who knows what kind of ecosystem we're going to build. Look what we've done in 2 years, and the people, not me, but people behind the scenes are, wow, it's so selfless. But to look at a 5-5-5 15 years from now and see what that's generated, those of us who understand this and appreciate it, we're not going to stop with just one 5-5-5. It's going to be that ladder was a brilliant thing. I remember first hearing about that. I don't know who did that, early 2020, the first staking ladder. When I heard that, I'm like, wow, we can get yield and get paid every 30 days or 60 days or 3 times a year. So it's so much to be proud of with Hex. And when you're in Hex and you kind of understand it and you've put hours and days into this, when you look at other cryptos and other crypto communities, there's no pressure, it feels like, from a personal level to even want to be in other cryptos. And you kind of want to dabble in it. And before Hex, you're always trying to time something. You're talking to friends and looking at YouTube videos and influencers, always trying to peddle different coins all the time. The next 5, the next 10, the next pumps and dumps. And you try to grab a hold of so many different branches and leaves. And with Hex, we only need Hex and Hex-related stuff and possibly projects that other Hexicans are building. So we kind of close this loop and got this spiderweb effect of helping each other and reaching out to each other. And it's so easy to talk to people. And that's why the community is growing so fast. And maybe the only thing that's stopping us right now, in my opinion, is the price of the gas fees of ETH. People that want to get in early right now into Hex, the floor is 11 cents. That is still very, very early. And suppressing us is the price of the transactions on Ethereum. So PulseChain is going to come, it's going to fix that. And when you're used to paying $100 or $200 for a transaction or an end of stake, it's going to be really refreshing to finally end stakes on PulseChain for fractions of a penny or a few pennies. I think the world's going to notice Hex and PulseChain in a much bigger way when you take away the Ethereum fees, and it's a big deal.
Oh, it's going to bring in so many new options. I know when we first got into Hex, it was when Ethereum fees were not what they are now. And so your strategies were a lot different. And so my husband had this strategy. We were both in education, working full-time, 40 hours, 60 hours a week, most of the time. And we were so used to this idea of getting paid every 2 weeks, right? We're just stuck in this rut of every 2 weeks, we get our paychecks, and then that pays our bills, and then we have this little bit of extra, to save or whatnot. And so when we found Hex, in his mind, he was like, I need to replace my paychecks, right? So when he first started staking, he would say, okay, look, we know that this is our jobs, like our kids are this age, we are good for the next 5 years. Let's just, plan 5 years and out. So if it was, March 1st, that he was receiving a paycheck, then he would stake it out 5 years down the line on that same date, right? And small amounts, like if we had an extra $50 or extra $100 out the paycheck, it was going straight into a stake 5 years from then. Because in our mind, we're like, in 5 years, that $50 is going to replace that paycheck, right? And then in 5 years, every 2 weeks, we'll have paychecks and we won't have to work anymore, right? That's what we were thinking. And a lot of that changed. Like for me, I've never tried to get my family involved in any type of investment, any type of, anything really. I'm pretty just like by the book. This is what I do. And this was the first time ever that I was like, Hex is going to change the world. It's going to change my future, our wealth, our generational wealth. You guys have got to be a part of this. And they just were not, listening. They just were. I mean, it was like I was speaking a entirely different language. They're like, so you get this at the bank? I'm like, no, you are your bank. Like, it was not crossing at all. And so in order to get them to understand, what was really happening, right before big payday, we're talking about Christmas, we're planning for Christmas again. And I'm like, we could do this same thing we do every year, go get this $50 gift, for each couple in the family and some toy for the kid that nobody is going to think about after Christmas. They're probably going to leave it at our grandparents' house, or we could give each one of them a $50 stake it to, at least like a year out. So let's say like Christmas of next year or their anniversary or some important date that they won't forget. And maybe them having that, will show them something. And so I downloaded the Staker apps on all their phones and loaded up their wallets. And after big payday, by the time we got to April, my entire family was blowing up my phone. Nice. What is this? Like, how did this $50 gift become thousands of dollars? And I'm like, yeah, it can happen just like that. So right now you're like, oh, I bought in at 30 cents or whatever cents. As long as you have a strategy and a plan and you're thinking down the road, I mean, you're going to wake up and Hex is going to be $2 and you're going to be like, oh my gosh, I should have bought more. It was 10 cents. Like, what was I thinking? So you really just have to look at it like any other investment. If you were going into any other investment, you wouldn't expect 3 months down the road that you're an instant millionaire, right? So plan it the way you would plan any other long-term investment and then be amazingly surprised when it happens so much faster. So.
So I have a question for the audience, actually. How many of you still have a job, normal job?
What was the question? I didn't hear it.
Normal job.
Oh.
Regular
9 to 5.
Yeah, because you hear a lot of stories of people quitting their job too early, maybe, and then they start doing stupid things, or maybe they don't know what to do with their time, or they just get into fights at home. So I would advise everyone to just maybe not retire too soon. Just keep it as a side project and just use your regular job to, I don't know, pay off debt or maybe get rid of your mortgage. And then, yeah, that's what I'm doing. So, and what else? I forgot.
Do you guys want to do
like
a little Q&A with the audience? Do you want to do like a little Q&A with the audience?
Well, you can do
Are there
that.
any questions out there?
No, I was just going to say that if you have like something that you can lock up for 15 years, like you said, we're going to be here for a long time. And what's really special is that when you meet people in this room, it's like you know them already, even though you haven't met them. And I'm just being added to these Telegram rooms with people from all over Europe as well. They're planning meetups there because most Europeans, it's just a long trip to get here. And we were just wondering, why don't we do more regular meetups, like in the UK or maybe in Germany? So I think over the next a few years or months even, I think there's going to be way more meetups. And I'm really looking forward to just to meeting more people. It's like, yeah, it's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I completely agree with you. I completely agree with you, Elma, and to that I'd say like our incentives are aligned, and alignment of incentives is really critical for long-term sustainability and long-term success. Our love is aligned. we love similar things, and that brings us together. That's why we're truly here. Like, love is one of the reasons we're here. As Richard Hart says in Sci-Vive, success is getting what you want, and happiness is wanting what you get. And we all want that for each other here. We want all of us to be successful. We're aligned. We all want all of us to be happy. We are aligned. And you know, we're committed to making that possible for each of us individually, but also each other. And that's timeless. That's critical. And that doesn't die all of a sudden, because the code is the code. Like, that's what we share amongst ourselves, and that's something we love. And it's not going to go away. It's only going to get built on top of. It's only going to get bigger, and it's only going to get more profound. And you know, the real gem here is, like, I may be younger than a lot of you, but I understand the power of generational wealth. Like, that's the real goal. For some of you, you might want to use a lot of the capital that you generate in your lifetime, and I respect that. That is your choice, and I respect your choice. But my choice potentially is to really build out generational wealth, so that never in the lifetime of my family will there ever be poverty. Like, that is what I'm securing, and that's amazing. And you know, if most of us here in this room can do that over a lifetime, and do that not just for ourselves and our family, but the local network that we're connected into, our friends, our acquaintances, like the people that added to our lives, and we can do that for them. We can help them establish generational wealth through this brilliant designed product. That's a gift to the world that you can give, and that is your choice, and choose wisely.
Delusion has mentioned age, and I'm so jealous of people his age, like Bran. He's like 25 years old. These guys found Hex at this specific time in our life, when old guys like me, I would give anything to be 25 and Hex be around at that time. How many of you guys feel that way? Are you in your 40s or 50s, and you're so jealous, but you're happy for them too? Like, I'm jealous at the same time, and I'm super happy for you guys, because a 15-year stake to these guys, what are they, 40 when a 15-year stake ends? That is just sweet nectar. Imagine being 40, having a 15-year stake in, all the people that are going to be involved with Hex and PulseChain. It just builds off of each other. So you guys are in such a great position. So people may be watching this video for the first time and wondering about Hex, and they're young and wonder where to put their money, because if you're in high school and college, money's pretty tight. I mean, right now, you can literally, at the time of this video, March of 22, you can get Hex, the greatest asset of all time, in my opinion, for 11 cents. So take advantage of that. If you're looking at this for the first time and you're hearing us talk, take advantage of Hex. Look into Hex. It's a site that Gerardo's got. Look into hex.com. And I remember just a couple months ago in January, Richard Hart was talking to Gerardo on the January stream, the second anniversary of Hex. And he was pumping, look into hex.com, what a great site it was. And it shows these charts and stuff. Is beautiful. And it shows how Hex, Bitcoin, and Ethereum, it puts them all together, and it's got these little lines going up. And Richard talks about that, how important it is to look at it from a macro level. And if you look at that chart on lookintohex.com, it shows the correlation of Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Hex, and then moving up the same way. So it's got the fundamentals in the background. But the unique thing about Hex, the inclination of the climb is better than Bitcoin. It's better than Ethereum. So these are the two heavy hitters in crypto, and Hex is already beating those. So it just, again, it puts in perspective how powerful Hex is. So if you're young, you're in a right spot for Hex.
Yeah. And just off of that, I'm a huge advocate, coming from the world of education. I am a huge advocate of onboarding the youth. and you're saying how easy it would be for, someone 25 to make it to their 40 to their 15-year stake. But imagine how easy it is for a 3-year-old to make it to their 18th birthday and to be financially free, right? So imagine if we were to actually incentivize our students in school with stakes, to where as they learn about the blockchain, and they are rewarding their future selves, right? How wonderful would that be to graduate at 18 and have college and your future set for you? So think about that when you're staking for those young ones.
Do you guys think about that, brand delusionist? Do you guys like understand? I mean, you guys probably do because you've been in Hex for a long time, but can you speak to that? Like people y'all's age, friends that y'all talk to, do they understand like how great Hex is and how unique this time is at y'all's age?
I think so, but I'm not that young. Maybe these other guys.
You look great, brother.
Brand for sure.
If a 15-year stake comes out, I'm way past 40. So maybe you can talk about this. I mean, what's it like?
How does it feel?
Well, I think like you mentioned, I don't think most people really kind of do understand that. I mean, I think Delusionist made a very good point that it's cool that you can have your family be set for life, and you can have your parents be retired. People are doing amazing things in this community, and like she mentions, for her kids, her family, the young ones, how cool is that to set up their future successfully? But as far as do people comprehend, do they grasp it? I don't think so. And I think after 10,000x in 1.5 years, it was designed to do so in 2.5 years. I think most people don't really realize that, yeah, it's doing what it is designed to do. And I mean, imagine when we get the first millionx or the next 10,000x. I think we really are kind of setting up for that next one. But anyways, yeah, I think it's cool that you can set up your family for life.
Yeah, and I would agree, and I would say about 4 years ago, I desired very similar things to what most of the people my age desire. I wanted to be free. I wanted to have stability. I didn't want to work as hard. I wanted to work smart. And I wanted my time not to be wasted, but to be useful. And I really, what it comes down to, I wanted to live the dream life in the conceptualization that I had of what is my dream life. And your dream life might be different. Your concept of your dream life might differ from mine, but I want you to get there, and I want you to live your dream life. And that's really kind of what we're here about. And the tools to allow you to live your dream life are rare and hard to find. We are here kind of gaining, we are here together talking about one of the tools to financial freedom. And it's very rare. We're a very small community in the grand scheme of things. We are participating in a revolution within a revolution, right? Like cryptocurrency is the bigger revolution, and we're in a very small kind of subset of that revolution, right? And most of the young people that I know, like most of my friends and family that like prior to all of this happening, like no clue about which tools they were to use to attain their financial freedom. It's been very sudden for many of us. Probably everyone in this room has been very sudden. And many of you are living your dream life now. And that's incredible. And it is really up to you to help all of the other people in your lives to achieve what it is that they dream of achieving, to live their dream life. And it's not about more, right? Like once you're living your dream life, you have to be grateful for that which you already have. And that's like where the happiness comes from, because the pursuit of more will lead you down kind of the wrong path, right? And like just more for yourself. And I really want to inspire all of you to achieve that more by helping others achieve their dream life. Because that's profound. That's really what we're here to do, and that we're sharing this message because if you're listening, we want you to live your dream life. But it's,
Delusionist says, he's a deep thinker, brother. I love you. That's some good stuff.
Thank you. But again, like most young people, BallietBran and my age, they're below zero. They are in the negatives. They owe money. They don't have capital. They owe capital, right? They're living literally on borrowed money, whether it's student loans or whatever it is, like just borrowed money. And that's the way the system is designed. And that keeps you waking up early in the morning. It keeps you actively creating income by working your, whatever job that you got. And what we're talking about is passive income, passive generational wealth accrual. Like this is revolutionary and could really help so many young people get away from that, as Kareem says, slavery 2.0.
And it gets your time back. That's one of the most powerful things that I've learned about Hex and working hard. I worked in the medical field for more than 25 years. And just the amount of time that you put into your day when you're working so hard, and getting up and showering, commuting, and going somewhere for 40 or 50 hours a week, it's tough, man, even if you really, really love your job. So if you can have something like this that saves you from yourself, but the fact that we can stake our Hex into the future, and it's really unique to Hex. If you had Bitcoin or Ethereum or any other crypto and you had a pretty good bag, you may have that little price point where you're going to sell 20 or 50% of your bag and you're out. But Hex saved me from myself. If it wouldn't have had that feature where you can stake, and I'm not emergency in staking, none of mine are going to be that way. So if it didn't have that feature and you bought during the adoption amplifier and you may have gotten Hex at fractions of a penny, I tell a story a lot that you may not know, that there was a time when you could buy, Ethereum was about 100, 125 bucks per ETH during the adoption amplifier. There were times when one ETH, 100 bucks, 125 could get you 1.3 million Hex. So if you're getting that at fractions of a penny at that time, we weren't able to stake and kind of keep it off limits from ourselves, then I'm not sure if I could have held. It'd have been just like any other kind of crypto. You reach a certain price point, whether it's a penny or 5 cents or whatever, and you sell a huge bag. We're so I guess lucky to have that feature in place, because it kept so many people from selling early, and you get the benefit of, that price appreciation it's pretty sexy.
Yeah, it saves you from yourself.
Yeah.
And that was before self-referral. You could self-refer too. Richard talked about that. Those were the good old days. But you're right, and you mentioned downloading, a specific wallet, and Bitcoin was $100 at that time. But Bitcoin was also pennies before too. And so anyways, yeah, once again, RG3 talks about this, that at the first conference, that in the future he could see, selling out stadiums. And I definitely see that as well.
Yeah, we had maybe 100 people at the first meetup in Vegas, right? And we have probably 600-700 people in Vegas right now. So 1 year.
We're growing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Delusionist mentioned earlier about who has 5555s. Is there anybody here that does not have one 5555? It was like a really quick hand.
It's impressive.
Yeah, need to get one.
So it's very,
Yeah, talk to me after this. I would like to get you a 5555. I'll personally put you in one. Just let me know.
Nice.
What other community does that?
Right? We have about 7 minutes. Do you guys want to just see if there's any questions in the audience?
everything else is cyclical. And it's one of those things that a lot of people, like Maddie mentions, that a lot of us would have sold if we didn't have stakes. We would have sold the whole bags. Just kind of understanding that, once again, just like the top of the market cycle with the 56 cents at the time, whatever, there's going to be, if we haven't already done it, the bottom, and then going back up again, and there's certain milestones, like I think maybe when we hit $1, $10, $100, things like that. As far as like the feelings, it doesn't get any easier seeing 80% dips and stuff like that. But if you forget who mentioned it, but just kind of having a plan, and whether it's staking ladder and doing it once per year for 15, something like that. Just kind of understanding, for me at least, that even though the price is down and stuff like that, and bought higher and stuff like this, it's nice to know, for me at least, earning the yield every single day. But as far as it being easier, I mean, it doesn't get any easier. It's kind of just part of the cycle. But then once again, just like the cycle, it goes back up again. I don't really know else how to.
I mean, you just like Dollar Cost would say, you have to diss DCA and stake and chill.
And
Steak, bacon, chill, right? There's another.
And I would just add to that is one thing you could do that's really powerful is reprogram your mind. When the price is going up, be fearful. Not excited, be fearful. And when the price is down, be excited.
Be aggressive.
Be aggressive. Because if you truly understand what you own, you are slightly worried when the price is going up too fast, too quick. Why? Because those with liquid HEX can sell, and they can extract the most amount of value. That scares me. When the price is low in comparative to previous all-time highs, that is a time of consolidation. That is a time of introspection. That is a time of weeding out of the weak hands, of the weak people, of the weak-minded. And that's really when our community becomes the strongest. Not financially, but in community, and in thought, and in ideas, and in commitment to each other, right? And those that decide to sell at a loss, that is your decision, and I respect your decision. But that is not what we teach within this community, truly, right? And if you have a long-term mindset, the ups and downs become, you sort of, after a few ups and downs, you become numb to it, and it's much more easy to dissociate from those natural feelings of fear, and to be able to reverse the feelings into kind of acceptance and empower, like surrender yourself. You're staked. You can't sell. Surrender yourself to the dip. If you have capital, buy the dip. And as the price goes up, think about the consequences of that. We all love to FOMO into the price skyrocketing, but think about the consequences of the price going up too high, too quick at any moment. And also, in terms of timeline, like we're under 100,000 users. We will get to 1 million users, right? And so we have to think about sharing our scarce asset, our scarce product, with 900,000 more individuals, more Hexicans, more believers, just like you and I, respectful and loving. We have to make this pie bigger. We have to be respectful and share it with everyone, that comes after us. But don't lose sight of where we're going, because the price is irrelevant to that metric. Any questions?
Question? Who's got more questions?
Somebody else raised their hand.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's just Maddie Crypt. I'm not sure why it's real. I don't know. I think that's my Twitter, but it's just Maddie. I chew on that a little bit. Yeah.
Because if you do a 15, here's my thing with 15 years thing. You're 15 thing. This is a long time, right? And I promise, you don't know what's going to happen. But you can do preventive measures to make sure, even if you're not there, somebody else can benefit from it, your family or somebody, right?
Right.
So, but don't get us wrong. We all into these projects for ourselves as well first, and help who you can on the way, your family and everything. But I want to hear your direct. Just an example, it don't have to be a personal one, like how would you go about it? Like,
Yeah, I mean, that hits home for me too. You know, no matter where you are, you know, that's your age and you're going to feel that. So for me, it was really important because I know Hex is going to be around longer than me, longer than us, longer than young guys. So you have to put that into perspective. I made an effort, a really strong effort to get my family, kids, nieces, nephews to understand Hex and the value of Hex, because what happens if a car accident tomorrow? I want someone to know where my seed words are, how to use a hardware wallet. You know, what's going to happen to a stake and ladder? Do you really understand Hex, or just because I told you about Hex, or you're watching the Matty Crypto Show or other influencers? It's just not enough, because years and years from now, when Hex is, it's hard to think of Hex in terms of dollars if someone's just looking at an 11-cent Hex, but it's going to be there. Hex is going to be in the dollar range. We're going to have Pulse and PulseX. And like I said, this ecosystem, it builds on each other. We don't have to go anywhere else. Once this is done and there's a fiat on-ramp and Hex and Pulse are just living in this own little world, we're right there together. And when I talk about people, you know, my family and stuff, that's what I tell them. I want them to learn as much about this as possible, because Hex is not something that's going to go away in a year or 2 years, 15 years. This is immutable code. It's going to be on there. It's just math and code. So not just me, but everybody young, you have an obligation to educate people and tell them, you know, how to use the hardware wallet. It's really, really important. I hear now at Papa B and Walrus and these guys talk about security, and it's still over my head. How to migrate an old wallet over to a hardware wallet. It's tough for all of us who understand and have been into crypto. I can't imagine how difficult it is for someone who knows nothing about crypto. But that's the key. We have to really make sure and point them to the right direction. Because if you tell someone to look up security or look up into Hex and what it's about and try to teach them, they go to YouTube and they go to other influencers, and you get bombarded with hundreds and hundreds of channels, and it's overwhelming. I've had friends of mine look into crypto, and after just one day, they're like, I can't do it. Just make me a wallet, give me some Hex and stake it. It happens all the time. And you feel like it's almost like a full-time job. You can sit down and charge hundreds of bucks an hour, like a consultant, a crypto consultant. But I feel sorry for those people, because they may have Hex, they may be introduced to crypto, but is their wallet secure? It's not going to be secure, because I've got buddies of mine that personal friends I've known for decades that actually have put their seed words on their computer in a file or a notebook, and they told me, yeah, but it's encrypted. Stumbling, sorry. He said it's encrypted, and it makes me nervous for them, because they don't understand the value of Hex, because they may have a few thousand Hex or 10,000, even 100, a million Hex. They may look at it as 11 cents, but what happens when they look at that in 3 to 5 years from now, and it's millions and millions of dollars? Is their wallet compromised? So that's my biggest takeaway, to really make sure that people you talk to and on board, they understand Hex in the right way first, with security and their seed words, and putting that stuff down on aluminum, as secure as you possibly can be. That's the biggest key. Because I look back now at my stakes, and even the ones I think are secure, it worries me. Like, is it really secure? Did I share that somewhere? Is it on my computer? Is it on an old computer? I got old computers that I won't give away, or I won't recycle or throw away, because I'm scared one day I'm going to go back and find some duckies in Hex. So just be secure. You can't be secure enough.
And love one another. Maddie, we love and respect you so very much.
Awesome job, guys.
Thanks, my friend.
Thank you so much.